Hello, I'm Suzanne Stewart and I'm Hawkesbury City Council's Communications Manager. I'm here today with Jeff Organ, the Director of Infrastructure from Council, and Peter Ryan, President of the Pitt Town Progress Association. We've worked together to prepare a video for the Pitt Town community so that you can hear some of the answers from Council about some of those key questions that your community has about what's happening in your area. Today we'll be working through a series of questions about roads and drainage. I'm going to hand over to Peter, who's going to ask the questions of Jeff.
Thank you very much, Susan and Jeff, for the opportunity to do this video. We're here to discuss the results of the surveys that happened over the last few months. That was the road count and the survey of what people have come up with. And we'll just ask Jeff, would you just give us an overview on exactly what is happening and where we're going with this?
Certainly, Peter. I guess the Pitt Town area's development is the roadworks out there are being developed by the developer, but there's also a number of roads which are required to be built by council, which sit outside the immediate works by the full construction by the developer. So essentially those roads are Bathurst Street, Hall Street, Johnson Street and Hawkesbury Street. So we've been working over the last couple of years in preparing designs for each of those roads, and we've come up with designs which are now out to tender. We'll be out to tender very shortly to get an accurate pricing on those, and it's the intention to deliver those over the next 6 to 9 months, commencing probably in March of next year. So the Progress Association has given us good feedback on what the priorities are out there. Essentially, we've costed these works out at around about $5.2 million, but we'll obviously be subject to what tender pricing we get in from the market. So essentially, the priorities, if I can just use the pointer here to guide people through it, is going from Church Street through to Buckingham Street is our first section, and then Bathurst Street upgrade. So these will be widening it in this area here through to 11 metres wide. We'll widen the seal in Bathurst Street to 8 metres wide. It's only currently around about 5.5 to 6 metres wide. That'll give us a good seal shoulder. And then reconstruction and curb and gutter of the remaining sections of Hawkesbury Street, Johnson Street and Bathurst Street coming around into all in the intersections. So that's the works that we've currently designed and we'll be going out to tender on. There was a question that came up as to why we're proposing a roundabout at the intersection of Buckingham Street. That intersection's always been a little bit problematic in terms of sight lines for exiting traffic, as well as having the churches there. So with the upgrade of the roads, we've taken the opportunity of incorporating a roundabout at that location so that we can do those works at the same time. It's highly cost effective to do that at the moment, probably less than $10,000 to put the islands in compared to the other roadworks. And the cost in the future is probably in the hundreds of thousands of dollars to come back and retrofit a roundabout post-construction. So they're the works. We'll be reporting back to council probably in February when we've got the results of the tenders and looking at allocating the funds to do that. Have you got any further questions on that one?
Jeff, you've covered it pretty well. Now, most of this funding has come from the Section 711, which were contributions of the purchasers of the land to do these works. We had decided at Bathurst Street that we would forego the curb and gutter on the B section there so that we could fund the rest of the roadworks. Realistically, the people will be asking time of delivery, and you've said probably February to start. What areas would you start first?
So in terms of sequencing, what we'd probably be looking at doing would be the reconstruction section just talked about from north of Buckingham Street through to Johnson Street, and doing that using council's own resources and subcontract. So that probably wouldn't be the subject of external contract management, and doing those works. So we're looking at doing those works early, subject to the funds available. That's probably a March start on that section, and then it'll be up to the sequencing of the contractor for the remaining works, and subject to council allocating voting the funds to do those works.
With funding, is there enough funds in the account at the moment to cover all these works?
At the moment, there's sufficient funds, we believe, to do the roadworks within the developer contributions reserve.
Okay. And just probably a bit of drainage on Bonavista Vista Park. Will that be included in this works when we do the intersection there?
Originally, we had intended to do that as part of the intersection. We looked at some other options for the Johnson Street and Hawkesbury intersection. But with the amenities block, toilet block being proposed in the park, we're going to take the opportunity of doing those works in conjunction with the paving and the earthworks that will be necessary at that time.
That's great. It's a bit of an issue. I think there's very limited questions that we can ask. The works are happening. The plans are out for the public to see, and it'll be up to council to allocate the funds. Is there anything else that the public, the residents of Big Town can do to push this faster and to get a better delivery date?
Look, I think everybody wants things, and it does take a little bit of time to plan and get contractors mobilised. Probably the only other thing we will need when we get the tenders back and start talking with the contractor is actually about sequencing. Quite clearly, what we don't want to do is have multiple fronts opened at one point, or have construction traffic running over works in progress. So ideally, we'd be looking at a single contractor and working out a sequence that suits all of the works in a logical fashion out there.
Okay. Well, thanks, Jeff. I think that covers all the issues. People, if you want to see these plans, we are up in front of the shop most Saturdays now, selling some raffle tickets and also giving people plans of this. So if you'd like to come along there and see the plans, that would be the best way to get as much information as you need. Thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Jeff.
All right, well, thank you for joining us, both of you here today. I just wanted to let you know, Peter, that we'll be making a follow-up video about the master plan shortly. So that's another one that'll be up on your Facebook page. And we should let the community know to keep an eye out for that.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for your time.